It's the Caleb MTGO Show.
Yeah, I don't know how much of them leaving man up was bluffing, or maybe they had some interaction card that wasn't relevant. Am I rooting for the Brewers? I'm not. I wish whatever sporting event was happening was not happening in my fucking city. And then the roads would do better, and... I know I want Tinker. I do. Maybe get Memory Jar. Tinker for Memory Jar was shielded. Kind of a weak pack, I guess. Wonder if I can wield the Blightsteel. It's just that Upheaval's very good if you're doing artifact stuff, artifact ramp stuff. And, like, I think we can get away with Force of Will in this deck, too. The person who takes the Blightsteel is the one that's, like, specking on getting Tinker later. It is, like, a artifact signal, even if it's a weaker one. The thing is, like, there's only one Tinker, but there's, like, a bunch of different things that you want to Tinker for. Barraquave's good. Kind of feels like we're ditching black. Yeah, it would actually be more comfortable if more people had seen the Tinker. I'm random. If you see a Tinker and pass on it, it shows, like, one, that you're, like, probably not that interested in it, and two, you assume that somebody else would scoop it up. And then when you see the Blightsteel late, you're like, okay, well, someone already has the Tinker. I don't need this. Usually pretty hard to get enough blue cards for Force of Will in your artifact deck. Just because there's so many colorless artifacts. We have a lot of blue ones, though, here already. It's about playing what you like. In Cube? Cube's, like, always a little bit about that, There's an interesting tension where if like, every card is playable in every deck, then every deck is just, like... ends up being like a value sludge pile, and it all feels kind of samey. And I've played some cubes like that. Every card's a 2-for-1. Every card's efficient at what it does. The cube, like, technically supports multiple archetypes, but there's no reason not to take, like, the high-powered, efficient creature for your control deck or what have you. But if you go too far in the other direction, where everything's, like, in complete lanes. I've heard some people say that that's their issue with tribal-type cubes. Is then it feels like you're like, okay, well, I took a goblin. Now I'm just going to take every card that says goblin, and I'm not thinking at all for the rest of this. Whereas in an ideal world, there's enough overlap that you can be like, okay, well, today I'm drafting artifact goblins or goblin reanimator, and, you know, you're able to mix things up in interesting ways. People want to feel clever when they're drafting. That's, like, one of the main reasons people like drafting. All right. As much as we would like the Tamiyo and the Tolarian Academy, we can only draft one of these. Yep. I really like how Currency Converter makes it hard to flood out. Plays well with the Shorikai, too. It's the latest pick I ever got a power 9. Your guess is third. Your guess for yourself or your guess for me? Certainly later than third. For an actual Mox, probably 5th or 6th. If you're counting Time Twister, then quite a bit later. Hello, Retrofitter. Yeah, Retrofitter and Balance here, actually. Retrofitter playing very well with Academy. Balance playing very well with our early game. There's going to be 3 cards left. Someone's probably grabbing that Balance from me. It's more likely to wheel than Retrofitter. I don't know how much that matters. I was going to grab it. How has Vivi been in Vintage Cube? Pretty marginal. Retrofitter and Kappa Cannoneer is kind of nice. However much mana you have, you can just like grow it a bunch. Yep. Hey. So like that Council's Judgment Cancer, random walkers and stuff. We do have Lightning Greaves, so maybe that's not that big of an issue. I'm gonna grab the Portable Hole. The more picks you can draft that are artifacts, then the better the deck functions. Wow, that Elspeth's going late. Love that card. Would I ever take LED to fuel Tinker? Sure, if I was desperate. I'm not desperate. You should get desperate with Tinker. Like, say you've got Tinker and like some good thing to tinker into, but you're short on artifacts. You only have like 3 or 4 artifacts. That's the spot where you start looking at LED like, any artifact at all, you say? Okay. One of the more blue artifact decks I've drafted in a while. Not that I'm complaining. Teferi's pretty fucked up, One of the most frustrating Magic cards ever printed, that Teferi. Are you allowed to activate Talisman while tinkering it away? Talisman? I don't know what card you're referring to. Oh, you're talking about Wishclaw Talisman? No. The only way you could pull that off is if you had Teferi in play and upticked it, so you could play the Tinker as an instant, and then you could activate the Wishclaw and then respond with the Tinker. It's pretty rarely the case, though, Man, this Manifold Key sucks. It's like just untapping top. I don't want any of these other cards, though. Not a 5-mana Teferi Enjoyer. I play it sometimes. I don't think this deck needs it. I don't think it's solving any problems for us. I want Map for the Academy, but I also want this Tezzeret. Oh well, Tezzeret and Top's pretty good together. Yeah, I think if I had a piece of power to grab with the Tez, I'd be all over it, but because I don't, I'm just gonna grab the Map for the Academy. Tez has been a good ad, I agree. Maybe it's better than Stern Scolding. Maybe Jace is better. Let's do Teferi. Teferi versus Jace. The untap on Teferi can untap Academy, which can make like you can like play the Teferi, untap Academy, and then have like one of the big counters up. Nine white. 13 blue. Good ass mana base right there. Moto's always right in regards to the mana base. It was trying to get me to play 2 swamps. Anyone remember Inkwell Leviathan when that was in the cube? That'd be one I could pitch to this Force of Will. Well, I hope I stop drawing lands soon. And the stock up was kind of bait, right? They knew that my hand had mana drain. Doesn't mean I just wanted to sit there with a mana drain up for the rest of the game while they drew cards and stuff. Now we got this hard cast Force of Will option. They even a map for Colonnade. I would like to point out that I have only drawn lands and expedition map for like the past. It's been a while. Now, to the untrained ear, that might sound like I'm complaining. Trained ear, too. Can I somehow cram another draw engine in here? Not a particularly explosive hand, but I think 3-mana Teferi is good against them. If and we can land it. All right. Interesting. All right. I'll play a Jace and I'll bounce your Jace. Big Jace is like, little bro, you're adorable. Jace on Jace violence? No. Bouncing can be friendly. You ever bounce a sibling on the trampoline? Or anyone lighter than you, right? You just time it to land right before they're going to land, and it just launches them into the stratosphere. Very fun. Do I have siblings? Yeah, 2. Middle child in between 2 sisters. There's a solid chance we win this turn. I was gonna brainstorm and put like the Jason the Teferi on top. Not the Jason Teferi, the Kappa and the at least the Kappa. Hand's a little dependent on finding a white source. All right, Duress, what you grabbing? If they take the Teferi, we know they don't have days. So they know about the No More Lies, so this must just be a good spot for them to use the counterspell they've been holding up, which I'm fine with. Now I don't have to hold up mine. I'm gonna flip the Tameo and then uptick it and then hope to build a Revive Time Walk next turn. They started tapping mana, and I was like, if they play a fucking draw 7 here. So they do get to flashback Time Walk. I'm unsure if that'll be enough for them to win. Personally. Bark, bark, bark. Cryptic Command would be sweet here, huh? Oh, there's flashing by the snuff out. Interesting. Yeah, I don't hate it. Yeah, Time Walk there, and then, like, what do you do at the end of your extra turn, right? Die to the turtle. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay. Okie dokie. All right. A little awkward. I used the Academy to spin. I was looking for Cryptic Command or the Mystic Confluence to, like, answer some shit here. But I used the Academy to spin instead of the Plains in case I found a white removal spell that I think I boarded out anyway. So that was very clever of me. Balance just makes them discard a card now. Doesn't seem great. Let's actually do this. I should be tapping this top. I think Astrologia is getting in equipped here. Okie dokie. Could crew the Shorokai. I think drawing cards is better. They have 2 planeswalkers. They can rebuy the Time Walk. One's at 9. I can only pump this 2 more. I can only deal them 7 damage this turn. So this one doesn't exile the Time Walk, right? They return it. Yeah, we gotta kill the Tameo. Whereas Jace at least exiles it. Yeah, Pockets, you a Fishbone fan? What era of Fishbone's your favorite? Any plans to play that Ball X Pit game? Yeah, I literally streamed it yesterday. I was doing a Megamonk stream, and I got a notification that it was out because it was on my wish list. And I literally like dropped the stream and like fired up the Ball X Pit. I'll be streaming more for sure. Love that shit. I don't think that one matters. A lot of this Magic the Gathering game is like figuring out what matters. Yup. Would you like to put a time walk on the stack? You would not. All right. Yep. All right. I think that match drained the last of my brain juices. I think I'm all dried up. And then, yeah, the CubeCon was a blast. It was, like, really cool just, like, talking to folks and, like, getting, like, soaking in the positive vibes. The decks that I drafted were neat. I had, like, good matches against my opponents. All my opponents were super pleasant. Just really good vibes. Yeah, I had such a fucking rough time yesterday. I was second-guessing if I even wanted to go today. And I'm so glad I did. I kind of knew I would. I kind of knew I would have a good time if I just went. Yeah, much better, Ultiman. Yeah. Yeah, right after CubeCon last year, Mutant Turtle. CubeCon, what dat? It's a con that happens every year here in Madison, Wisconsin, where people travel from all over and lend their cubes and stuff, and everybody drafts a lot of cube and has a good time. I think I like just bouncing my own thing here. Basically, a lot of folks like donate the cubes for the use of the con, and then people, all the cubes that are available are listed, and everybody attending the con votes for the ones that they want to play in the most, and then the algorithm like tries to like pair off the pods as close as possible to like as many people getting what they want. Nice way to make sure fun is had by all. Yeah, and sometimes you like don't get a cube that's on your list, but when that happens, the algorithm like keeps that in mind, and you're like more likely to get your first pick for the next draft and stuff. It's like really cleverly done. Which cubes did I draft today? I was actually randomed into the Pioneer cube, which I would not have chosen. Like Pioneer's like not my favorite format or whatever, but I actually ended up having a lot of fun. My matches were all interesting. Oh, shall we? Could display the Kappa Cannoneer, but I think this is better. Yeah, let's do that. I can still make a 3/3 at end of turn, so I gotta be a little careful with my life total. Have I watched the video about the 100 Ornithopter Cube? I'm literally featured in that video. Well, not featured, but I'm in one of the camera shots of people drafting it at last year's CubeCon. But no, I didn't watch it. I didn't love that one. I didn't it's a cool idea. I'm like glad I drafted it, but I wasn't huge on the gameplay of it. Man, this land glut is pretty brutal. Alright, Magic Online wants my library to be over here, I guess. This is like 5 lands in a row. This is kind of crazy. Well, I can keep drawing if I want to with the top here, but I think I'm fine leaving the Force Will on top. Anyway, I did that cube, and then I did the one of the mono red cubes. One of them I had drafted before at the barbecue to take that down, and that was the one that I got into today, which I was happy about. It's like one of my favorite cubes. So it was my 3rd time drafting it, and I lost in the finals to the very person that I faced in the finals of the barbecue. So that was kind of fun. I want to get the Kappa Cannoneer down, but I think I want to Mystic Confluence bounce this Preacher first. Have like kind of like a middle turn. How was Cube? Cube was awesome. I had a great time. But yeah, having like a finals repeat was very cool, even though I lost this time. Oh, I way overpaid. How many people total at CubeCon? I don't know, a little over 400. Which I personally think is the sweet spot. Last year we had closer to 600, and that felt like a bit much. Started to become hard to like find people and stuff. I seem much more energized today. Yes. Well, yeah. Yeah, I slept better. I had a nice breakfast. I had a blast playing Cube. A lot of fans came up to me and like said nice things. I got to see a person that I was worried about. I'm like no longer worried anymore. I was super happy and positive. I had a really promising talk with someone in the Magic community who's starting like a board gaming company, a tabletop gaming company. And I was telling him, we were talking, and I was like, Um, he was talking to me how like a lot of Twitch streamers have like been moving more and more into YouTube, and I have like a YouTube presence, but I haven't like really done that, right? I haven't done like a ton of like edited videos and stuff. Anyway, we got on that line of discussion, and I was telling him that like as much as I enjoy streaming, I do like shrink a little bit every year. As like fewer and fewer people watch Magic Online, more and more people gravitate to YouTube, that sort of thing. So like I'm gonna be doing this for a long time, but it seems realistic. It seems like smart to think about other things, right? Like if as opposed to like counting on being able to retire off of Twitch streaming. Anyway, the reason I'm rambling into all of this is we had like a really promising conversation where he was talking about like how he might need to hire people for his company in the next however long. I was asking me if I was interested in game design and stuff, and I've actually just been like picking my friends that are in the field of game design. I've been like picking their brains and stuff, and like reading books on it and whatnot lately. Like it is something that I've been like pecking at and thinking about. You want to see me Citadel top looping with Shielded in play? Hell yeah. Yeah, let's play Converter and let's top spin here and see if we can find. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay, well we'll just pass. In an ideal world, I wouldn't have to pitch the Tinker if I was forcing. But if we end up forcing, I can tap the top to draw a card and then like see if that finds me something else. In an ideal world, we just don't have to burn the force, right? My Pioneer Cube deck looks sick. It played out really well. It was really clean. I did need a few more counters for my finals opponent. He had some sweepers, and I had like a single spell pierce to to answer like all of his stuff. He played. My finals opponent was Tension, who is a local Madison area player, and he's very good. I've played him in pre-modern and stuff. Well, now I have to Tinker Sack in this top. It's a little bit less exciting. I'm still gonna do it. All right, your turn. Anyway, he had a control deck with Anger the Gods, and like I don't know if you saw my curve, but it wasn't particularly Anger the Gods friendly. And he got to play that all 3 games, and that was very good. Kind of don't want to deal with that. So this literally just makes me discard a card. Hell yeah, Gamebeard. Well fucking done. First time being in a feature match? Yeah. That's not out of line at all, Gamebeard. Very happy to root for you. Looks like a mold meme. This one we can keep. We have a removal spell into Teferi. We get to bin the Citadel. The beer's amazing. I think it's solid. It's a little overrated, but still like very good. I tend to like accessible beers, and it fits that bill for sure. Wow, this hand just got a little bit better, huh? Is my all-time cube record positive, negative, or break even? Oh, very much in the positive range. Me and Turtle Hermit. So after a vintage cube season, which is like the majority of the cube that I play, I will sometimes like break down my go through my match history and figure out my win-loss. And I've had multiple seasons at 75% win rate. And the lowest win rate that I've tracked was in the 60s. So I would guess that my all-time cube win rate is in the low 70s. Betting in playlist? Hell yeah. You got good taste, Rand. People say that the cube is the best way to lose money on Moto. Maybe they mean it in a positive way. Like, cube is the best way to lose money on Moto. Those other ways, they suck. Don't do that. Thought I was gonna Teferi bounce Wishclaw. And now I think I'm just gonna... Actually, hold on. Do I just play Turtle? Probably not. This is probably wrong. Doomsday? Doomsday with Workshop? That would be interesting. Shroud and Ward 4, this thing ain't dying. It could certainly die. Toxic Deluge, or they could, like, tutor up their own Tinker and go get Portal. Well, they better either answer my turtle or kill me. If they're giving me Wishclaw here. Yeah, actually, maybe it's just to kill me. Yeah, bonus is dead. The Wishclaw activates and goes and gets top. And then I have top Citadel. And we just, like, activate it 7 times or whatever to get them to 13. Tap top, put it on top of the library. Play the top with the Citadel. Get another counter on the Kappa Cannoneer. Pretty clean little lethal there. I don't really know what the opponent's doing. They're playing Workshops. I'm going to cut Balance and play Laurent. We'll try that. Could I Tinker the Wishclaw? Oh, I actually could there. Upticking to Fairy would let me activate the Wishclaw and then tinker it away. But they were dead, you know. It didn't matter. But I could only do it because I had Teferi Time Raveler, so I could respond to my own Wishclaw activation. You'd rather sit in a deli? You would. Wishclaw is always... Wishclaw is not instant speed. Wishclaw is your turn. Tanladang. So it's more about being able to play the Tinker at instant speed, because you need to be able to respond to your own Wishclaw activation. I'm not quite in the mood for this one. You think I should draft that Ancestral Recall more often? You might be right about that. Yeah, I almost let them resolve because they took Recall. Then we can Teferi bounce the Saga. They're in kind of a rough spot. A good blue-white deck from Cube. Oh, you saw on my my Blue Sky post? Yeah, I thought that was good. I posted. Oh, you mean? Oh, I didn't share the deck list actually. You're saying from the CubeCon coverage? Yeah, the deck was solid. Ran into a bit of a speed bump in the finals, but overall it performed really well. It was a lot of fun to play. Light on removal, light on counters, but just a bunch of flying creatures and like drawing gobs of cards. Really fun to jam. Had hard to combat the perfect Anger of Gods every game. Yeah, and 2 Multifives, huh? The deck's was pretty consistent. It had like 9 of each source and like just like a bunch of cards that like smoothed out early game plays. And so I hadn't actually mulliganed, I don't think, until the finals. And then there was just like multiple one-landers in a row. That is Magic, yeah. You're not wrong. Oh, my Academy and my Force of Will. That's a good ass Thought Scour. That's some nice deck damage right there. Nice they have Chromatic Star for the Emery. Cyclin. Couldn't run the top out. I think I'd rather activate the currency converter. If I can be frank. If I can. Odd that the opponent milled me, then played Emery. Yeah, I don't know if they knew it was on top of the library with a top or something. Haha! I was actually setting up a self layup there, Lord Fudge. So I'm glad chat followed through. I was gonna reference Wayne's World, but then I like stumbled on the line and I was like, ah, fuck it. And chat got a nice alley oop. You had Marshall LSV doing commentary. Oh yeah, I saw that. Was that sick? What draft is that for? The second one on the day? The Gavin draft? Yeah, that was the second one. We're a mana short of having Tinker, Citadel, and Topier. I'm just gonna wait a turn. Just gonna chill. I think we have literal lethal next turn. Favorite CubeCon cube so far? Well, the mono red cube that was developed by the Mana Vault is an old favorite. I drafted it at last year's CubeCon, and it was like my favorite from that year. And then it was the CubeCon for the top 8 of the Barbecube that I ended up winning. And my finals opponent for the Barbecube was also my finals opponent this year in that mono red cube again. There's another mono red cube at the con. And my goal is to play both of them. It's at 11, they're at 19. I was pretty sure I'd have lethal this turn. I don't think I quite do. I can tap the top and then cash in my other Teferi. And that gives me another point. And I can play this Greaves, and that gives me another point. So that's +2, that's 13, plus the Colonnade. That's still only 17 damage. Are there particular archetypes within the mono-red cubes that are super interesting to me? Well, I haven't done the other one yet. But one of the reasons that I really enjoy the one that I have played a few times now is that there is a lot of different stuff to have happen. When I originally drafted that cube in the first CubeCon, I was like, I'm just going to jam the mono-red cube. I won't have to think about my mana base. It should be really pleasant. Because, like, my brain was kind of fried, and... And then I was drafting it, and I was like, holy shit. There's a lot of variety in here. A lot of open, like, different things you can do. And archetypes that, like, crossbreed with each other. And cool synergies. So, like, this time I went pack one, pick one, Goblin Bombardment, into a bunch of other things that played well with tokens. This is the first time I drafted tokens. At the barbecue, I drafted Artifact Goblins. Yeah, so I let them pay there if they wanted to, but then I've got the No More Lies, right? So they pay for the Urza, and then I just No More Lies it, essentially, and get all their stuff off the board.